My soon-to-be ex-husband and myself were high school sweethearts. First everything for each other. We were together from the age of 17 to the age of roughly 22 to 23, birthdays making age different. He proposed to me in a very romantic way on Valentine's Day that year, and although I had been having second thoughts about being with him and settling down at such a young age, I accepted his proposal because I did not want to break his heart and disappoint him after all the effort he put in. I even tried to convince myself that I was ready for this. We set the wedding date for a year away. 6 months in, I broke it off. I was too young. I wanted to live on my own for a while, and I wanted to see other men because he had been the only guy I had ever been with, not just sexually, but emotionally. Heck, I didn't even have any guy friends, so he was my only guy I had to compare to. As you can imagine, he was not very happy about this. I tried to tell him over and over that he did nothing wrong. It wasn't that he was lacking in any way. It was just that I really wanted to be on my own. I tried to stay friends with him, but eventually I had to block him and cut him out of my life altogether because every time I would see or talk to him, he would get emotional. He saw me on a date one night with a mutual friend, and he became an emotional mess. So, for both of our sakes, I avoided him. It wasn't easy on me either. As I said, he didn't do anything wrong, and it's hard to just move on from someone who you were so intimate with. A little over 2 years had gone by since I blocked him, and nearly 3 since I broke things off, and I had not heard from him in that entire time. I had lived on my own during that time, and had dated several different guys, a couple of which lasted a few months, but most did not. Honestly, it was my choice they didn't last long, because I figured what was the point of going from one steady long-term relationship to another when the first one was fine? I didn't want to be tied down. Anyway, at around the 3-year mark, I decided that I would look him up on Facebook, and he had his settings set to public, so I looked at everything he had posted over the past couple of years, and there was no mention of any woman, so I took a chance and texted him. We got together and met up just to catch up. He seemed very happy to see me. We talked about my travels and his work, and it felt just like I had never left. We started seeing each other again, and 2 years later, I start to ask him about marriage. This probably should have been my first clue there was a problem, and now looking back, I kick myself for not seeing it. He told me that he had already asked me to marry him, and he wasn't going to do it again. If it was something I wanted, I would have to ask him. Being dumb, I thought that what he said made sense. I did accept and then turned it away, so maybe it was on me to do this. So I did. A year and a half later, we were married. Red flag number 2, that once again I should have seen, was he refused a big wedding in a church. So against my wishes, and really against the wishes of my mother, we got married at the courthouse with just a few family members present. However, while the ceremony was nothing to write home about, we did have a great honeymoon, and the first few years of our marriage were what I would consider fine. That is, until yesterday. He came home from work and we ate dinner, and he seemed fine. Then he called me into the living room and turned the TV off, and tore out my heart and stomped it on the floor. He proceeds to tell me, by the way, with a ducking smile on his face, that he has decided it was time for him to leave. He felt like his life was stagnant and he wanted to make changes. He didn't want to feel like for the rest of his life he missed out. The last part was his jab at me from all those years ago because at one point I said that to him. He then proceeds to tell me that he is going to be moving in with my cousin, who, by the way, is pregnant with his child. I of course am bawling by this point, begging him to not do this to us. He just gets up, gathers his coat, and says, "Now you know how it feels," as he walked out the door. I don't understand any of this. What I did was as an insecure young woman who had not lived life and did not know for sure what she wanted. He is a grown man who didn't do this to a girlfriend, but to his wife. Why go through all of this? Why not just tell me when I contacted him after being apart for years to go to hell or something? Why waste both of our times? Did he really never forgive me, or is this just an excuse to justify his cheating? Also, I will never forgive my cousin for this. She is dead to me. He knew I wanted a baby, but he always wore protection with me. I guess the two good things coming out of this is we didn't have a child together. That would have been a mess. And his wearing protection helped me keep free of the STIs I'm sure she has. Obviously, this is over between us. It does break my heart because up until he did this psycho crap, He was a perfect husband. But it was all a lie, I guess. And now I don't even know what to think of all of the years just wasted on him. Here's my question. Do I confront my cousin or just let it go? Obviously, family gatherings in the future will be out of the question as well. My mom and my aunt are probably going to have a big fallout over this. I've been close to my aunt over the years and don't know what to even say to her. I am so sorry. I suspect one of two things is happening here. He is playing a multi-year revenge game with you, which seems unlikely. He cheated on you and rewrote the story to put the responsibility on you. Everyone is the hero of their own story, so he twisted this one to make him come out as the wronged party. The two flags aren't a huge deal in and of themselves. Just be glad he showed you who he is and you are free from him. You have to be pretty mean-spirited to say what he did to you. He could have had the grace to say he wanted to leave without rubbing in your face with cruelty. Imagine finding this out 20 years from now, rather than when you have your whole life still ahead of you. Live well and happily, and never think of them again. Get revenge by living well, and silently watch with glee as their sloppy crap falls apart over time. Don't lose your cool at them. Don't let them see you sweat. Your perceived quiet indifference, or smugness even, will rattle them more, ultimately. My sister-in-law, 29 years old, was great at the start of her relationship with my brother. She was nice to me, 25 female, my family, and we all got along. As soon as my brother proposed to her, it's like she got what she wanted and her true self came to light. She started telling little white lies, but we, my parents, other siblings, and I, brushed them off because we just want my brother to be happy. Now, here's the thing. They've been married for 3 years now, and she's only gotten worse. She goes around and accuses me of saying things that I never said. And then, when someone asks me why I said something so mean, I get very frustrated and say it's not true. And I promise I am the first to admit when I do or say something wrong. Guilt eats me alive, and I'd rather own up to my mistakes. One time, my brother told me that she was crying over something I said, and after calling me a liar for telling him I hadn't even talked to her that day, I had the flu, was sleeping all day, hadn't talked to anyone. He said, "Okay, well, she feels like you would say something like that." That in itself is a huge issue. I have a big problem with someone who feels something and puts words into someone else's mouth because of their feelings. I mean, really? She also has major control issues. She has a few allergies and expects everyone to base their meals off her allergies because she thinks she will get sick if she smells the ingredient. We know her allergies are not severe and have confirmed this. Because of her allergies, she has not exposed her baby, 1-year-old son, to any of her allergies, telling us that he is allergic as well, even when he hasn't been tested or exposed enough to tell. She specifically requested my side of the family not to speak with her son in the second language we speak, because she doesn't want him to know a second language. She feels left out. So disappointing that my nephew could be bilingual, and she is taking that away from him. Lastly, I have been a nanny for over 10 years. I got paid to drive babies, kids, a bunch of kids around, and I have a 100% clean driving record. I drive like an old lady with kids in the car because I understand the precious lives that are with me. When I started voluntarily taking care of my nephew to help out with her and my brother during these times, I was told I can only feed him the food she provides. Fine. Cannot take him out unless it's for a walk. What? Cannot post pics of him. She thinks he will be kidnapped. Okay. And here's the kicker. I am not allowed to drive him. They have to either pick him up or drop him off, or someone else in my family has to do so. Meaning, even if I want to take him somewhere with me, I cannot. She doesn't trust my driving. Meanwhile, she has been in more accidents than I can count, and her family is an absolute mess of drivers. Her siblings got into accidents the first week they got their licenses, and yet I can't drive him around. She simply wants to control me in every sense. My father talked to me the other day and told me that my brother had expressed frustration at the lack of communication I have with her. Yes, I don't reach out because we do not get along. She has yelled at me multiple times. She has never apologized. And here I am being blamed for our relationship. She tells my brother that she feels left out. Yes, she is, because I do not want to hang out with her. She makes me feel terrible anytime we talk, and she has the worst manners. It's a shock when we hear her say please or thank you, and like I said, she will never admit her mistakes or apologize. Now, my dad is saying that I am a big part of the reason why my family may fall apart and be distanced from my brother. But I don't feel like it's my fault, and I don't feel it's my responsibility to reach out to someone who only hurts me. If she had tried to reach out to me, that would be a different story, but she hasn't. I want my brother to be happy, and he says he's happy with her, so I don't want to break apart the family. But I'm stuck because I can't just fake being friends with her. It's taking a toll on my mental health, and it's exhausting. Whenever there's drama with my friend group, I cut out whoever is toxic. In this case, I can't. I don't know what to do. My dad is a great guy, love him to death, and I usually agree with him as he's a big role model of mine. But in this situation, I can't agree with him. I was taken advantage for my kindness growing up all the time, and at a certain point, I told myself I would never accept being close to someone who makes my life miserable. And he wants me to do just that. He wants me to suck it up, fake it, and do as she asks for the sake of my brother and our relationship with him and my nephew. What do you suggest I do? Do I give in? Would family therapy be of any help? But what if she lies there? Anyone have any suggestions? I'm at a loss here. Honestly, I'm also at a loss about what you should do, so I just wanted to give you my support. You didn't break the family apart at all, and I don't think that you and her not getting along should be such a big deal. Honestly, to me, your brother is the problem. Instead of having the guts to talk to his wife about her toxic behavior, he puts it all on you to make things better. Ask him something simple next time he says you put him in a bad situation stuck between you two. Have you ever asked anything from him? Have you ever requested for him to talk to her to make her change her behavior? Even when she was hurting you, have you ever requested things from her? No. She's the one who puts him in this situation because she can't talk for herself and can't accept that you guys are just not compatible. It's not your responsibility to make her feel better about herself. You didn't marry her. It's time for your brother to grow some, instead of pretending you're the unreasonable one. My family also consists of me, 39 female, my brother, 41 male, and my parents, 64 male and female, and our significant others. We have been having this annual family vacation for almost 13 years. We are a very athletic, fitness-oriented family, and usually we spend our annual family vacations doing sporty things like trekking, rock climbing, kayaking, biking, and some other fun stuff like abseiling and bungee jumping. This year, we found out that my sister was pregnant, currently 4 months. We were surprised at first because we thought none of us were going to have kids. That said, we are all very happy for her. This will be the first baby in our family. Brother and I are child-free with our respective significant others. We were planning our usual vacation, and this time we are planning on going mountain climbing and biking, plus one night of drinking and talking at the local pub. We always do the one night of drinking. That was our plan initially. However, Sister has said she doesn't want to go for this and wants to go for a beach resort kind of vacation. None of us are keen to do that. Sister complained that the current itinerary would exclude her as she cannot do rigorous activity while pregnant. Fair enough. Mother decides to sit out the fun activities, and we come up with a different set of activities she will do with my sister. Our plan is that me, Dad, Bro, and our significant others will go and do all the activities we planned, while Mother and Sister and brother-in-law will do other stuff like spa, massages, and shopping. Then we will meet up in the evening to have dinner together. To me, it sounds like a fair compromise. Everyone gets to have fun, without excluding anyone, and we still get to spend time as a family. Sister doesn't want this compromise. She says it won't be fun for her, and it's not fair to her. I asked her to do some research and choose other activities she can do with Mother. She refused, and said if we don't care about her, then we can go for the current planned vacation. But if we really cared about her and the baby, we would go for the beach resort vacation that she wants. At this point, my brother is pissed because her refusal to compromise is delaying our booking. We need to book our accommodation and flights and other things. She is causing trouble and delaying the whole thing. Brother says if she continues to be a baby about this, then he is going to go ahead without her and book the vacation anyway. She can grow up and come or be left behind. His words, not mine. I would really like her to be included as I hate confrontation and drama. We have been a pretty peaceful and happy family usually. Does anyone have any idea why she is acting like this? My brother says she's just being B and entitled. My husband sides with my brother. My sister-in-law thinks this will blow over and this behavior is just due to the pregnancy and hormones. I tried to ask brother-in-law, but he just says he supports sister's decision for a beach resort vacation. Our current plan is to go ahead and book the vacation and include tickets and accommodation for her plus brother-in-law, so that if she decides to come at the last minute, we don't have to scramble for tickets and flights. If she decides not to come, close aunt and uncle will come with us instead. I feel like everyone in this situation is acting kinda babyish. Yes, it's selfish for her to expect you all to completely change the holiday plans for her, but it's also going to be hard to include her in your current plans. And I think her issue is that she wants to spend the holiday all together as a family, not separately doing stuff. Is there any way to have a holiday that includes both a beach holiday and an active holiday? A seaside resort that has hiking trails and water sports, that kind of thing. You could spend the mornings on the beach chilling together, the afternoons off doing whatever, and the evenings together for dinner, and everyone should be happy. Your point is valid, and no, you shouldn't have to change your plans. However, isn't the point of a family vacation to be with your family and make memories together? It seems as though there isn't much of a compromise. You all will all be off having fun every day while your mom and sister sit in the hotel. See it from your sister's perspective. She just found out her life is changing dramatically, and that can't be easy for her. You guys aren't making it any easier either. Perhaps you can plan a few days where you as a family spend together. Yes, it was her choice to have a child, but the fact is, it is going to change her life. She will want to go on more family-friendly vacations. Why is this so bad? You will have a new small family member. It will ultimately change your relationship with your sister, but it doesn't have to be a negative change. However, if you are in the mindset that she decided to have kids and that isn't your problem, it will damage your relationship with her.